Hey everyone, and welcome to Top Think. Today, we're going to learn about how to make people like you in 30 seconds. Now, let's begin. Number 1. Spontaneous trait transference. Everyone knows that compliments are a reliable way to win people over, but few realize how it changes their perception of who you are. By using the right kind of compliments, you can actually convince people to believe different things about your personality. Whether you want to show people that you're funny, kind, or reliable, this trick will instantly transform their opinion of you. The key is a psychological process called spontaneous trait transference. It was first proven in 1998 by a study investigating perceived likability. Participants listen to one character, person A, give a description of a second character, person B. After hearing their descriptions, participants then rated the personality of person A. It turns out their ratings changed depending on the kind of description that person A gave about person B. In other words, when you describe someone else, people assume that you possess those same characteristics. If you compliment a friend of yours by saying, "Oh, he's really smart," well, then they'll assume you're smart too. On the surface, this makes almost no sense. Why would your description of another person change their perception of you? Well, just think about how you evaluate other people. When talking to your friends, you have experience interacting with them. Yeah, you know what their personalities are like. But if you're talking to a stranger, you don't have enough information to fill in the gaps. Your brain relies on basic associations and context clues to get an idea of who that person really is. You make assumptions about their personality until something proves you wrong. Yeah, it's not the most logical approach, but these shortcuts help you interact with people on a daily basis. Spontaneous trait transference is just another one of those shortcuts. Your brain is working off limited information, so it associates you with the kind of compliments that you give. But it isn't just positive for positive. No, multiple studies have shown that spontaneous trait transference is trait-specific. What that means is, complimenting kindness makes people think that you're kind. Complimenting confidence makes people think you're confident. So if you want to boost your likability, just try this. Tell a story or give a compliment that highlights a distinct trait about someone else. Thanks to spontaneous trait transference, their perception of you will change almost immediately. Number 2. Zero-cost approach. Socializing is supposed to be an enjoyable experience, right? Well, for some reason, many unlikable people turn socializing into a series of transactions. If you want a favor, you owe them a favor. If you want to tell them a story, well, then you have to listen to a story. They give every interaction a price tag, and that just makes them seem selfish. It feels like you don't care about the other person's well-being. You're just looking for some way to reap the rewards. So try using a zero-cost approach instead. If someone asks you for help, just give it to them, no strings attached. People don't want to feel like they owe you for every little thing that you do. A zero-cost approach will demonstrate that you're only interested in their well-being. You're helping because you're a nice person, not because you're looking for something in return. If you do use a zero-cost approach, make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. Some people abuse this technique for popularity and attention. They seem considerate on the outside, but they're just looking for an ego boost. Remember that your goal is to quickly establish positive relationships. You're creating a sturdy foundation by displaying compassion for the people around you. If you do genuinely care, people will start reciprocating on their own. Number 3. Uplifting Flexibility. Adaptability is one of the most likable personality traits. People love when you can adapt to things other people enjoy. If you can surrender the reins and still have a good time, people will invite you to everything. Your flexibility and laid-back attitude keep everyone relaxed and positive. You're not creating conflict or fighting for control. You're diffusing stress by smiling and laughing through every situation. Now, of course, that doesn't mean you can't be your own person. You can still have individual tastes and interests, But adaptable people know how and when to set their preferences aside. So, if you communicate your flexibility right off the bat, people will find you much more likable. Number 4. Individualized greetings. Everyone knows that generic greeting, "Hi, how are you?" It works well for formal introductions, but it's not the best way to kick off a friendly conversation. To make yourself more likable, use your introduction to grab their attention and make them feel more comfortable. Try replacing that boring intro with something more unique. Let's say you're talking to someone you've met in passing a couple of times. Lead with their name and a question related to something you talked about before. This shows that you remember who they are and that you care enough to recall details from your last conversation. People really appreciate this kind of investment. Even if they don't know you well, a personal greeting can win them over in seconds. But what if it's a complete stranger? Well, you don't have to know anything about someone to spice your introduction. Just pay attention to what they look like, who they're talking to, and where they are. You can use all of this as material to get a comfortable conversation going right away. Number 5. Sensory biases. Your eyes and your ears aren't the only tools that you use to decide if someone is likable. Most people don't realize the important role that smell plays in this kind of perception. One study specifically investigated how certain smells can change our assessments of likability. Researchers asked participants to sniff 3 different bottles. The first had a good smell, the second had a bad smell, and the last wasn't good or bad. After smelling one of these bottles, each participant looked at a picture of a neutral face. They were then asked to rate its likability out of 6. So, what did they discover? Participants unconsciously gave higher ratings after smelling something good. That means that your nose affects the way you interact with other people. Yeah, you may not realize it, but it may even be the reason that you chose your friends or your partner. To cultivate a positive first impression, make yourself appealing to all the senses. Pay attention to your scent, just like you'd work on your language or your appearance. Make sure you're not overdoing it. That same study found that people lose their sensory biases when a scent is too strong. The effects move from unconscious to conscious, so their brain adjusts the way that it evaluates your personality. But if you can strike the right balance, positive smells can significantly improve your likability. Number 6. Motivated positivity bias. Sometimes likability depends on context. You might talk to the same person in 2 different environments and get 2 completely different reactions. That's because people approach certain contexts with goals in mind. At the gym, for example, your goal might not be to make friends or create connections. You're there to focus and work out. So if someone tries to start up a conversation, you probably won't make much of an effort. But what if you're attending some kind of social event? Socializing is the entire reason that you're there. So if that same person came up to talk to you, it would probably go much smoother. Contextual goals change the way you perceive other people. A 2013 study called this perceptual change a pair of rose-colored glasses. They found that social settings encourage participants to overlook things that would normally frustrate them. But it's more than just ignoring the bad things. These rose-colored glasses create an obvious positivity bias. People inferred more positive traits about the people around them when motivated by a positive outlook. So, to increase your likability, just try saving your approach for the right social context. Number 7. Reciprocity of liking. Reciprocity is something humans do all the time. We exchange goods, services, and even language. When someone gives us one thing, we naturally feel the urge to give them something back. It turns out reciprocity affects our emotions as well. There are, however, a few extra steps. The reciprocity of liking and a similar phenomenon called the reciprocity of attraction trigger a series of mental processes. First off, finding out that someone likes you stimulates pleasurable feelings in your brain, and that puts you in a better mood. Next, it proves that there are things about you that are worth liking. Suddenly, you're feeling more self-assured and confident too. And finally, you feel obligated to return the favor. That way, you can guarantee the same support in the future. This works on friends, strangers, and even people that you've never met. One study had participants judge likability based solely on a questionnaire. When participants found out that people liked them, they immediately expressed the same positivity. While it works on anybody, there is one important distinction. Researchers discovered there are two types of reciprocity. There's generalized, which means you like everyone, and dyadic, which means you like a specific person. Dyadic reciprocity is way more effective at improving likability than generalized. In other words, people respond better when they feel special. So don't be afraid to show someone that you enjoy talking to or spending time with them. If you're fond of them, chances are they'll become fond of you. Hey, thank you for watching Top Think, and be sure to subscribe because more incredible content is on the way.